Okay, a very good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to all on frequency. This is ZA6YI near Johannesburg, hosting the DATV Sunday Worldwide Net. Today, we also wish to thank the Qatar Satellite Company for allowing us the opportunity to be on their satellite, and we also wish to thank the BATC and AMSAT DL and AMSAT UK for their wonderful assistance with their various web pages and assistance and background. Today on the list we have the following. We will be followed by Papa Echo 1 Alpha Victor Papa. He's going to present 10 slides today. Thank you, Paul. And then ZS1 Mike to follow, Leon. Martin, G8KOE, he's got a small microphone, it's going to be interesting to see that. Hello to you, Phil, Mike 0 Papa India Tango. Hi again, Bert, Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta. And then to Peter, GW7BZY. That's a list at the moment. I don't know. Hello, Delta Golf 5 Fox Mike, Regina. Nice to have you listening as well. She's on YouTube, and I'm sure we'll have many more on. So, Paul, to you, sir, from Zulu Sierra 6, Yankee, India.
And then the usual check whether I do have audio. And then
You had very good audio and a good picture, so we'll stand by. Something must have gone wrong. Has to restart. That's nothing uncommon for Windows. So while Paul's getting himself right, we will bring in Leon, and then Leon pass it back to Paul. And hello to Stuart Clark, ZS, or what's your call sign, Stuart? ZR6 Whiskey Tango, I presume. What, Division 1, or you're back in Transvaal, or Gauteng as they call it. Right, Leon, slight break. If Paul takes it, great. If not, will you take it? And then we'll give a break for Paul. I know he needs to be out.
we give it a try again. Just a short moment, please. We give it a try again. Just a short moment, please. That's interesting. Let's say, amount of reflected power is rather high. So if I limit my output power a bit, then amount of reflected power is rather high. So if I limit my output power. Okay, I will try to monitor myself. Yeah, I hope that this transmission will be right. But really interesting. I do not know why the reflected power is rather high at the moment. Apologies. So I give it a try again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all watching on the net. As usual, Gary, thanks a lot for controlling the net. It's good as usual. Yeah, first of all, it is Sunday in Limmen. as what is true for you too. The temperature outside is 14 degrees and we have sun, which is really good. But the wind is rather cold, to be honest. Well, looking back at last week, I'm still monitoring my limits. It's just 1 dB from the reflected power limit. Last week I worked on my MG. As you know, the engine was also restored, and after restoration it wasn't running smooth, so I tried to check the ignition. I tried to check the distribution chain, the valve timing, the SU carburetors, and actually that caused the problem. One of the pistons within the SU, it's a double carburetor. Oh, the pronunciation is really difficult. It's a double one, and one of the pistons was stuck, meaning that it was not controlling the amount of fuel going into the carburetor, and that was the reason for the problem. And now, yeah, actually, it is running smooth. That means that the engine was just restored, so it still has to run for, let's say, 500 kilometers, but hopefully then it is running really smooth. So that's what I have been working on. I went to a local group of radio amateurs, and the presentation was held on EME. Also really interesting, of course, but yeah, we need a little bit of focus, of course, in the hobby, because then otherwise you would do too much. Yeah, last week I already stated that there is a subject on which I would like to provide some presentations, and actually I did prepare the first one. Let's say it's part one. On the reversed engineering of DATV. The fact that it is working does not mean that I completely understand how it works, and yeah, I simply decided, as long as it is not boring you, I simply share my thoughts on it. Let me have a look whether there are any comments in the chat. No comments, so I think that you hear me and that we can go on. So I propose that we go to the presentation then, which I did prepare. You are already familiar. Then, yeah, again the disclaimer. Yeah, undoubtedly there will be mistakes in the presentation. Does not matter. I still can share the information with you, and if you're able to improve it, you are most welcome. Last week, yeah, I already stated the kind of questions that should be answered or could be answered. And that is regarding yeah, the interfaces and the different characteristics on the interfaces. Yeah, this is at the highest possible level my setup. Ooh, I limit my power again with 1/4 dB, if you don't mind, because otherwise there is the risk of losing me again. Okay, which I've done. That's good. Okay, so I had to look at the different interfaces. First of all, I'm using a Polycom camera like many people do. We learned last week already that it is running an UVC interface, and the protocol being used is MP4. Yeah, most of us are running a personal computer and the OBS application. Some things are ongoing in that personal computer, and the kind of interface I'm using to my encoder box, that's an HDMI interface. Okay, there was a good remark by some of the others that, yeah, basically you don't need a personal computer and you don't need OBS. You could also directly input the camera into the encoder or, yeah, any other kind of encoding application. And that is absolutely true. And then, yeah, my setup is interfacing from the encoder box into the Pluto, and it's using a transport stream which is following the MPEG specifications. The H265 encoding is done in the encoder box. That's my solution, but there are also other solutions possible, like many people are using an interface card inside the PC. I stated that the Pluto is waiting for port A2A2, that means for UDP communication, and then in my setup I'm running RSTP over IP multicast. Okay, and that leads to the result that you can see me because the output is a radio frequency output with QPSK. I intend to present about 10 slides, then you've got an idea on what's going to happen. Let's have a look at the chat. Yeah. If you look at the total setup, basically we have a transmitter side and we do have a receiver side. Although this is an amateur setup, we intend to use a standardized solution. Well, the standard solution was standardized by ISO and IEC, OSI did specify a stack for multimedia services, and that's what I'm showing in the picture. So at the left side you see the transmitter side. At the bottom it starts with a physical layer. Well, that's clear to all of us, I think. The physical layer, in our case, that is the RF path that consists out of the transmitter side. The Pluto that's generating the signal going into the power amplifier. We go to the satellite, and at the receiver side we do receive it with our LNB and the Serit tuner. So that is the basic layer. On top of the basic layer there's the data link layer, a network layer. Many of us have some kind of switch and router in between. And of course we are transporting information. So at layer 4 and layer 5 we are running something like TCP or UDP over IP, and a kind of communication protocol which can be RTP and or RSTP, RTMP. And then really at the top there is the application layer and the presentation layer that we are all using. At the moment we are using HEVC, that means H265, which we are transmitting and also receiving with the mini tuner setup. This is really at the highest level within the OSI model. A remark, I did dig a bit into the F5 OEO software, and what I learned that is that the Pluto is waiting at port A2A2 in a routine called watchudp.sh. It's waiting for communication with UDP, but I saw that there is also another possibility, and that is to communicate in RTMP at port 7272 in the software. So that's what I learned. Again, it was not really simple to read information about it, but this is what I saw in the F5 OEO software. If someone knows better or more detailed information about it, I would warmly welcome this. Okay, I continue. Again, if someone gets bored, please tell me in the chat, then we simply stop. Next slide. Okay, basically what we are transmitting and receiving. Okay, I have to lower my power again by a quarter of a decibel because otherwise you're gonna lose me. I hope to have solved this next week. I do apologize. Okay. As what is stated, basically we are transmitting and receiving audio and video content. That content is digitized and put into a container. And once it's in a container, it is coded, and that leads to a certain format of the audio and the video. Again, that means that what's in the container, that is the representation of the digital audio and video. So basically, the signal that is provided by my camera and the signal that is provided by my microphone, that is the content. It's digitized and put in that container. Next, in order to be able to transport it over the satellite channel, it means that in some way it needs to be compressed. And that is what the codec is doing. It's using an algorithm to encode the audio and the video stream, and that leads to the H.265 format. In this slide, it is further elaborated. You see two simple examples. It would be possible to use EVC as a compression algorithm, but what we are actually doing is using HEVC. That means high efficiency video coding. Well, that's clear. Then the question did arise, what actually is it, this digital video encoding? At the left, we all see a beautiful movie. I copied it from the internet, to be quite honest. So the first step that is happening, that is that video information, the video pictures or images are encoded to a data stream, which is put in a container, and that is what you see in the middle here. Next, it is set into a file, and this file can be transported. In the most simple form, we all know it. For example, the information that is put on a DVD. In the past, it was a kind of encoding format that did not compress anything. Basically, it meant that it did lossless encoding. That means it is exactly that what it says. It is lossless. Nothing is lost in the let's say primary video or audio that was encoded. But it is also possible to encode lossy. And that means that we do reduce quality. And actually that is what we are using in HEVC. I made a diagram on video compression that is happening. At the top we see the same movie. We see the guy from left to right who's moving his arms. What we could do, of course, that is that we sample and store each of the individual pictures and translate it in, for example, a JPEG format. But it would mean that we need to transport a lot of information over the satellite channel, and that is not what we intend to do. So what we do is so-called interframe compression, meaning that, let's say, a kind of algorithm is looking at the individual images and is looking at the content and the changes in the images. Well, at the bottom left, there is the so-called B-frame. What does it mean? Well, if you look at all of the images, we all see that the center is the same. So it's being used in each of the images or pictures that we intend to restore. The arms are moving, yeah, the information about the arms, that is something that we have to represent in individual frames, and these frames are called the P frames. Well, we see them. Well, in this example, I made 3 of them, and then in the end, there is the full information, and that is the guy as we know him, with his hands held up. It is clear to all of you that we are able to restore the full information out of the B frames and the P frames. But once in a while, we also have to transmit the full picture again, which is the I frame. So that means that advanced video coding, that means H.264 and H.265, are a sequence of these images. In my encoder box, it is possible to set the level for the group of pictures, it is called. Basically, you remember the sequence of pictures or images that you have seen in the previous slide. Each of the images is encoded. You see it here in this example. So basically what happens, that is that we are transmitting a full frame. That means the previous frame. We see the arms moving. That is sent as so-called P frames in the transmission stream. Well, this example follows arms low, arms middle, arms high, and that was translated into P1, P2, P3. And then there is the B frame that is showing the middle of the picture, and what we all learn, we are able to reproduce the full picture out of this information. And then, once in a while, the full picture is being transmitted, the so-called I frame, and so on. So it is clear that we are able to transmit the full video in a compressed manner by slicing our video signal into these frames. That is actually what is happening in the encoder box, but also at the other side, at the receiving side, where all these packages are put together to present the original video signal again. There is a difference, what I learned, between H.264 and H.265. Basically, HEVC encodes in a more optimal manner than the original H.264. And we all know that. That means that we can provide more quality within the same bandwidth. What's the at the highest possible level, the basic difference between the two protocols? You see it at the left. Basically, an image is translated in many squares, more or less of equal size, and the signal is encoded and processed in an equal manner. In H.265, it is done in a different way. That means that depending on the level of detail, for example, it can be encoded in a more detailed manner. Object-based coding is being used to do the compression. This is an explanation really at the highest possible level. Well, I have to give some credits to a fellow radio amateur that I'm talking to every morning. That is called PA3BYV. He told me about the application TS Analyzer, Transport Stream Analyzer, or TS DAC. I did install and run that application on my PC, took a sample from my video signal, and it was a sample of only 17 seconds. And I simply wanted to learn what can I see in it. what you can see that is that this sample of 17 seconds did contain 2,872 packets. That's interesting. What I also learned, there are no unexpected events. So that looks rather well. But what I was interested in, what can I learn about the framing? Well, I talked about these I frames, the B frames and the P frames, but what I learned that is that my encoder is not sending any B frames. That means I will repeat, yeah, the same thing as what I've done before, but next time I will sample a video with much more movement because I want to learn, is my encoder box using B frames, yes or no? But actually in the sample that was analyzed, that did not happen. So my encoder box currently is only sending an I frame and a P frame. What I also learned that the full frame containing all information is sent only once per 58 times. That is far too high. So that means that if I put my transmitter on, it takes far too long before you see my full picture. And that is something that I need to change. But the question is, does the encoder box send B frames, yes or no? And this is not only a question to me, it's also a general question. What is actually happening in the different kind of encoders that we are using? Okay, yeah, that's it for today. Again, I hope I didn't bore you. And if so, yeah, please tell me in the next over. I try to find my test card and then send the camera to, let's have a look, to Leon. ZS1 Mike from Papa Echo 1 Alpha Victor Papa.
Wow, Paul, that was a mouthful. Very interesting, but I'm afraid quite above my present knowledge of digital video. I'm purely a user at the moment, but yes, very, very interesting. I wonder how long it'll take me before I can fully understand all that lot. Okay, what have I been up to? I finally finished this project for the University of KwaZulu-Natal, the flight termination system for their rocket. I tested it this morning. It works perfectly with a quarter wave antenna on the UHF frequency. So at least now that's a project that's been going on for quite a while. I first had to build the transmitter side to generate the codes to be sent to this decoder receiver to destruct the rocket when it goes off course. So that took a while, but this took much longer, and I don't know what. Well, okay, this had to be very small, so I had to use surface mount components, and working with that while you're having tunnel syndrome in your hand is not easy. So I did it bit by bit by bit. Anyway, that's done. Paul, I listened to BFN, the Dutch channel on one of the satellites, and according to what I saw there last night, it's definitely time to fire up my Geiger counter, I think. I damaged this. I built it nearly 40 years ago, and I was trying different Geiger tubes, and I think it was still, the HT was still on when I plugged it in, so I damaged the first transistor again, so I must fix that. But I'd like to have it running permanently and logging the activity and see whether we get a slow rise. Otherwise, I was going through my valve stock just before the net, looking for some 12BY7s and 6146s for another ham who lives in Montague. It's a small town. I don't know how far from Worcester, but yeah, it takes a while to get there. Anyway, so that's what kept me busy. Yeah, otherwise not much going on here at my station for now. So right, Martin, I'm going to send it to you. G8KOE for the group from ZS1 Mike.
Right, I think that's enough of the music. Yeah, thanks, Leon. Geiger counter. I think I could do with building one of those. We were going to do a project on a repeater in Brighton to put a Geiger counter up, and we never quite got to doing it and monitoring it with all the other weather bits and pieces. But looks good. And Paul, absolutely interesting. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you very much. And being you were sort of mentioning test duck, you probably, maybe you are aware or you're not aware, on DATV Red, the later version, that has built into it, which is now monitoring my signal, TS duck. So it'd be nice if you could do a follow-up video to explain to me exactly what I'm seeing. I sort of get the gist of it, but don't fully understand it all. It was very, very helpful what you did, what you said, and the slides. I'm sort of slow on the uptake, but that's what my signal looks like at the moment. It's one of the useful features that Johan has put into DATV Red V4. So anyway, what's enough of that? Let's go back to the camera. But I hadn't intended to sort of talk about DATV Red and that, but I'm always playing with it and thoroughly enjoying it and all the other bits and pieces that are associated with it. Finding your car. Yeah, I once had a little kit car that had dual carburetors, and I spent absolutely ages trying to set them up. Never got it particularly well. But my experience with lack of knowledge and getting confused, shall we say, is the latter kit car I had was a Ford Cortina engine. Basically, it was based on a Ford Cortina, so it's the Pinto engine. And I had the head done, all the valves replaced, etc., so as I could run it on unleaded fuel. And it's the first time I'd sort of put it together and sort of done the timing, etc. And thought I'd got it right, and it was spitting back through the carburetor every time I tried to start it. And a friend of mine, he came round, who was a bit of a mechanic, and he sort of got out his car, walked across, looked at it and goes, "You got the distributor 180 degrees out of phase as such." I got it completely round. Being dyslexic, I couldn't see anything wrong with it. So he just sort of pulled it out, turned it round and goes, "There you go." So we set it up correctly after that. But anyway, that wasn't what I was going to talk about, but it just shows how you can get sort of sidetracked. Small microphones is what let's find a picture, shall we? Tells a lot of stories. Let's go back to the screen. Yeah, I'd got a small microphone and decided I needed to put it in a case or whatever, but I needed some volts to it. So I thought, well, the simplest way ended up being getting the battery box, and the microphone is on the right hand end there where the red wire is. That's it, tucked in there. And a really poor picture, I can't believe how poor I got, but where the cable originally went in, there's a hole there that the microphone can see out of. There's it attached to a not a very good constructed thing, but its purpose was that, again, another out of focus thing, that I could sit it looking out the window. And it fed back into my SDR play. And the idea is to look at the British bats, and that's the frequencies they're on. It's as per Tech Mind's video. He did a video of it, which included these little microphones. That's the actual size of the microphone. And if we go back to what do I want? He says, let's get the PDF up. That's the frequency response of the microphone that I'm actually using. Now, I'd hoped that the bats would play ball because I only got it together ready yesterday. But last night they didn't appear at all. Normally they fly into the garden and do quite a display. But hopefully once I get things sorted out, I'll give a demonstration. But if you're interested in seeing what the results are supposed to be like, then let's put on, you can go and watch it yourself. I'll put it on the chat. Oh, I'm not logged in. I think that's it. It says, come on. Right, that will take to Tech Minds, which is what you'll see there. And he's used an SDR to get those sort of responses using the little microphone. So if you want to watch it, it's all there. But that's what I've got sidetracked in doing. Not really radio, I suppose, but sort of is. The other thing I've done is I placed an order with the BATC for the Pico tuner board and the tuner part as such, the NIM. So we will be looking into that just so as I can play with the different bits of software. I was trying to resist the temptation, but it got the better of me. Also been playing with Tom's OpenTuner software, which that's what I'm using at the moment, which we go to the screen and go over to which works exceedingly well, and it gets all confusing, doesn't it, once it starts looking at itself. But yeah, that takes very little resources, I must admit. Works exceptionally well there. The other Winterhill and the Longmin that is also got included in the same software use a bit more resources, but I've set up the Longmin side, which will work in conjunction with DATV Red, and you can control it from there. That's looking at the F5OEO Longmin, which is I've got sitting on a Raspberry Pi as a separate item. The only slight hiccup you get is that it's trying to use the same time stream as the TS Duck is in version 4, so you can't have TS Duck running at the same time if you go that route. But all good fun. But software works well, and I look forward to some slight refinements I know Tom's got in mind for it. But did find a couple of little hiccups, nothing very serious, which we passed on to him. But it's quite amazing what he's managed to achieve. The other thing I've put in on the little station here, my son dropped off a small UPS, and I thought, where shall I stick the UPS? Well, at the moment I've got it just feeding the computer, because we've got a habit here of having one of those just off and almost back on type power cuts, which causes chaos with the computer. So that's what we've done, just to add to the station. But I think that's about it from me, really. I've now got to look around and try and get all the parts together for the Pico tuner, which I usually end up ordering the wrong bits at the time. I sort of copy the wrong numbers. Anyway, I think it's Phil next, isn't it? M0PIT. I was putting out an excellent picture earlier. So over to you there, Phil. A test card, and it's all yours from G8KOE.
Oh. Audio. Oh, yeah, audio. Hey, good morning, evening, afternoon, guys. Great presentation, Phil. We just missed only the audio and video. That could be important for DATV. Exactly, Gary. Yeah, that's the way you have to monitor yourself. Okay, but nothing came through, Phil. Just a carrier. Okay. What? Yeah, Martin, you talked about the Pico tuner. I received also yesterday the Pico tuner. Anyway, the PCB and the series tuner received yesterday. So I have to collect the other components and yeah, can build up also, but that will be after maybe 2 weeks or so. I was curious, Leon, what are your plans to do with all the tubes? Because I thought nobody's using tubes anymore, and you've got a couple of tubes, maybe for a special project. Some people said for an audio amplifier you need tubes. Maybe some people can hear it, but probably because of my age, yeah, I cannot hear the difference between a tube amplifier or a transistor amplifier. But yours is probably much better, Leon. Yeah, about the great presentation. Yeah, it was indeed from Paul. Was a great presentation. From how it's that all is working, with all the frames and encoding and decoding. Did not much last week. The only thing I did was set up my 50 megahertz, the 6 meter beam. Was last week. I did already some bit, but I finished yesterday putting all the cables and yeah, what more? Anyway, that's all correct now because I needed next weekend we have a DATV contest on 6 meter, 2 meter, and 70 centimeters. So that's the reason I'm setting up my complete station over here. Let's see, I can put maybe on the camera, if that works. Yes, that works. Okay, that's my shaky cam. Okay, let's see. This is the 50 megahertz of the shortwave amplifier. And as you can maybe see, some nice tubes for the cooling. This thing is water cooled. That's for all the HF bands, but I'm using it at the moment only for 6 meter for the DATV. That's a 1 kilowatt output, a small amplifier. I'm busy with 2 ventilators of totally 4, but I want to use only 2 of them for a little breeze over the components, because yeah, the coils will get a little bit warm, and just a small breeze at 5 volts ventilators from all PC. I put them 3 in series, so it's 50 volt, but it works till 10 volts down, and then it's a small breeze without any noise. And the rest of the amplifiers building up is yeah, behind me or next to me. There's a power supply, the 2 meter amplifier, and then also the old 70 centimeter amplifiers. I'm busy with the new one. That will also be water cooled, but these two will all replaced by water cooled amplifiers, and they all will be almost around 1 kilowatt output. For DATV a little bit less, of course. That's maybe 20, max 25% of it. And yeah, that's I'm busy setting up the station. Okay, let's pick up the other camera. That's maybe. Oh. Yeah, as Paul already said, the sun is shining over here. Temperature is not so high outside, but inside there's some more. I'm sitting next to a conservatory, and the conservatory there is no screens at the moment, sunscreens at the moment, but all the heat is coming to my shack. They are connected together by a door, but anyway, it's rather warm over here. It's around, I think, around 25 degrees at the moment over here. And I'm sitting in the sun, so just the head a little bit behind me, but okay. And see, that's all I have to see. who's next in row? What's the list? The list? Oh, here's the list. Peter, but Peter maybe can leave a small hole for Phil. It's a small gap for Phil. If you want to fill in, then can fill in. Yes. Otherwise, you take it, Peter. GW7BZY from Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta.
Yeah, sorry guys, naughty boy. That was down to me. I hadn't turned on the stream, so it's my fault, and I didn't look on the chat. So naughty. What have I been doing? I've been realigning my dish. It's a 1.8, and it's a 6 petal dish. It's quite old and the petals are not very well aligned. And over the past few months it's been drifting out. So yesterday I had a bit of a go at realigning it. And apart from the brick that is now propping up one of the segments, pushing it in, which gives me a better signal, I use a lens on the end of the potty. It's prime focus, but I use a lens. It's one of these, you've probably all seen it, it's a rocket lens. That's part of the lens. I aligned it yesterday, or realigned it, should I say, without the lens, and I put the lens on and the receive signal went up. Forget by how much. It went up by about a dB, I think, which was great. And I don't know why I did it, but I took off the cover of the lens. This lens on the rocket is made up of 2 bits. There's an inner part, and this is the outer part. And I took this outer part off, just leaving the inner part. And I was astonished because the signal went up by about a good dB. So now the potty, I took this photograph early this morning, and you can see the red bit there. I must admit, I do need to sort out the rain dome, because the tape has come off. But that is the inner part of the lens, and it would be interesting to hear from anybody else who uses a rocket lens, and to see if they have an improvement if they take their cover off. So anyhow, so that's what I've been doing. I can see that there's no more comments on the chat, so I'm assuming everybody's getting my signal, but that's my own stupid fault. Apologise for that. Anyhow, I'm going to hand it over to Peter now. So that's GW7BZY. So I'm going to put up a test card, and then I'm going to kill carrier. So
apologise for that other station that was very close to me. I was just testing on the frequency above, and of course I hadn't changed it. Afternoon, everybody. from sunny Wales. It was been sunny here today. I've been down a little seaside village called Barmouth, or Benmore as we know it locally, and very pleasant indeed. Yeah, Paul, great presentation there. I have a little encoder, and I haven't seen whether or not it puts out B frames. I have experimented some with the encoder settings previously, although on this version of DATV Red, don't have that facility that I can see anyway. Not from the graphical interface, user's interface. So I haven't been able to adjust it, but I don't quite. A group of pictures, I would assume, would be from the eye, including B's, to the just before the following eye. That would be what I would think was a group of pictures, GOP, and long up would be a long frame. I don't think 52 frames, P frames, is excessive. I try to run mine somewhere between, as a group of pictures, between say 150 to 175, even 200 works quite well. Of course, if you do lose sync, then you get a lot of grey frames, which I assume is dropout compensation, as was on the old VHS days and tape days. And B frames, I've never found that more than one B frame per group of pictures really makes an improvement. But certainly no B frames has a negative effect. So I think we'll be looking to put a B frame in there. I've done some testing over the years, and I found that to be the best actually. And DATV Easy does allow you to adjust these levels quite easily, which unfortunately, I says DATV Red, at least on this version, the previous version did, but no, I don't know if anybody made use of it. But anyway, so I'm running the full HD at the moment, 15 frames a second, so it might look a bit stroby. I could adjust it, but I won't. Not on HD. If I went 720p, I probably would go for maybe 30 frames or 20 frames. Running the camera generally at 29.97 frames a second. So there we are. That's that on that part. Otherwise, I'm sort of still collecting bits for. I'm quite surprised. I purchased a Pico. I know it's no news to anyone else, but to me, it came as a bit of a shock. There's the USB stick. There's the Pico in its box. It looked like a little chewing gum packet, and I was quite shocked at the size of it. I know it's Pico is in the name, but I'm still very surprised how small it was. I've have to solder this thing. I have a board coming. I managed to sort out a Pico-tuned board, although there is one surface mount component which looks like it's going to be very difficult to do. So I best purchase a number of these devices, and probably should have two boards, but I've only the one. I don't know if it can be soldered in with a soldering iron, or whether I need a plate or a blower to work on that, or do I hover it over the gas stove and hope that it settles in the right place? I don't know. I have electric a halogen. The wife has a halogen stove, so perhaps that will do the job. Maybe somebody on the net today can give me some pointers of the cheap way of doing it without purchasing too much equipment. I have the obligatory cheapo microscope, eBay microscope, so there is a chance that it will all work. Anyway, that's that from there. Otherwise, very, very good presentation, Paul. Enjoyed that immensely. Good to see you there, Leon, with your self-destruct button. And the radiation, I haven't been following anything about radiation, but I assume that's, well, pretty obviously why you'd want a radiation detector these days. So, yeah, but, yeah, good signal from you. Bit better in frame today, so we can see a bit more of you. That's what else. I didn't see Gary. I was out till quite late, and I just got back in time. And by the time I put my name down, it was nearly already started. So Benmore, Barmouth. If you're down this way, anybody in the, especially from the Midlands, there's a train goes straight to Benmore from, I think, New Street. I'm not sure, but anyway, very nice little seaside town on the west coast of Wales. From GW7BZY with that Holiday advert.
Okay. Okay. I hope I'm not doubling. Okay, let me just get everything going here. Yeah, good day everybody. Just wanted to show my pretty face after a while. Not much to report. Anyway, thanks for the contributions today. The dish lens problem I have also. I use no lens at the moment. I have a prime focus. It's not as good as it should be, for the simple reason that I can't get at the feet without falling off the ladder or even reaching in it in situ. So I have to get up the ladder and then lean over, and I still can't quite reach the feet, and it's not practical to shift the thing for 10 centimeters and realign the dish again, and shift again for 10 centimeters and realign the dish again. So I'm using it as it is, and I'm probably missing at least 2 dBs, but anyway. Otherwise, when I started out with satellite, I needed a cover for the feet and for the potty, and I found the plastic cereal box that was just about perfect in shape, and I put that on, and it was working for a year, and then it started falling apart because we're living here 1.5 kilometers above sea level, so the ultraviolet radiation destroyed the thing faster than I thought it would. So I got another one, and I taped masking tape around it, hoping that will protect it better. And that lasted 2 years, and then not the masking tape, duct tape. The duct tape started falling apart. So now, 2 months ago, I bought the same container again, wrapped it in duct tape and painted it black with PVA. So let's see how long that will last. Yeah, so it's stupid little things that can cause problems. Okay, and that is about all I have to say for today. I hope that I can participate a bit more often again in the future.
Okay, I did exactly what Phil did. I forgot to switch on the encoder. So nothing unusual about that, Phil. But I did monitor my own signal. Yeah, Frank, you switched off a bit quick, but very interesting indeed. Let me give you a tip. I used a Coca-Cola bottle, just the PET plastic, cut the bottle from the side, clipped it over on my LNB, and it's been there for about 4 years. It hasn't degraded a sausage. So it's very UV stable, especially the Coca-Cola bottles, the plastic bottles made in South Africa. And it worked very well. Anyway, to go down the list quickly, excellent presentation, and thank you so much, Paul. And now I have a message from Ohan. He's the guy that wrote this DATV Red, and which many of us are using successfully. And he asked, let me just get his message. He was watching. He says, can you please ask Paul for, say, GitHub naam? Can you give him your GitHub name? And then he'll go and have a look. And then he'll also give you access to the latest red. I've got the latest one. We did it on Friday night, so we're still experimenting with it. Small changes that Owen has made. There was another fellow that basically copied his script and pasted it into his program, but didn't give Owen any credit. So these computer guys, they're worse than radio hams, man. Anyway, so Owen would like your GitHub, Paul, but I'll send you a private message on that. Okay, Leon, yeah, self-destruct. Just hope it doesn't destruct when you don't want it to, but I'm sure you've got many interlocks. You've done this for years, and also blown up many on purpose. Yeah, big responsibility they give you at times. I remember you were telling me about the New Zealand time. You could blow up one of Elon Musk's rockets if it went out of control, and you were monitoring the path. So luckily it didn't go out of control on that. Martin, yeah, I need some help, man. I've got the new program from the 7.4 something. I don't know what, he hasn't put the last digit on. That from Ohan, but I can't get the Pluto to work. I mean the Pluto spectrum scope to work. TS duct doesn't come up. So I don't know, somewhere I've got something switched on or off, which it should be on, but I couldn't find it. But anyway, we'll touch sides later. Phil, excellent signal from you when you switched on your encoder. Beautiful signal, good audio, no problem. And to come back to the potty, I've got a prime focus. One of my dishes is 1.8 meter, or actually two of them, and one's a 2.4. And on all the dishes, I don't use that lens at all. I focused the LNB quite nicely, and found that I get a very good signal, a D7 on the beacon, which isn't too bad. I think I could do better, but I'm waiting for my Marconi test set to arrive. Then I can put a signal out on 10 gigs and then just move the dish away, put a signal at some distance away, and then tune it properly without now going through the satellite or anything, and really get it spot on. I don't know if I'll squeeze any more out, but it seems to be okay. It's quite critical. A couple of millimeters, well, about 5 millimeters each way. It makes quite a difference. But other than that, yeah, these lenses, if you're not 100% in focal point, I think the lens can help you. Right, Peter, I see you've got a very nice clicker board in the background there. And yeah, it came up well on the picture. So yeah, your signal's always great. Video is excellent and audio is good. Also excellent, actually. So all good. Right. I don't know if Paul wants to have a quick over. He might not be there, failing which Leon will take it. Is Papa Echo 1 Alpha Victor Papa, ZA6YI.
Short audio check. Short audio check. Yeah, and it's working. Perfect. Let's have a look at my notes. Yeah, first of all, Leon, you were talking about BVN, het beste van Nederland en Vlaanderen. I think you understand that. And then you showed your Geiger detector. Well, that was a kind of link I did not understand. So that needs explanation, Leon. Okay, yeah, Martin, thanks for your positive comments on the presentation. And you were talking about TS Analyzer in DATV Red. Yeah, actually, I'm not using DATV Red, but TS Analyzer is a software package which is general available. This was not the end of the presentation. I'm still working on it to collect more information and put it into slides. So maybe there will be an explanation soon on what you're looking for. Yeah, Phil, the first transmission was really nice, but it doesn't matter. Yeah? These things do happen, as it even happened to me. I'm looking at the amount of reflected power again. I'm at the limit. Okay, that needs investigation, of course. Peter, interesting what you were stating. It seems to be that you have certain experience or in this field of digital transmission. That's interesting. And you were talking about a number of P-frames, which is really, really a lot, at least to my opinion. But again, I do not have any experience. And what you were stating, that is that if you're not transmitting B-frames, that has a negative effect. I completely agree, because the B-frame adds video quality, of course, and secondly, it also leads to a better compression ratio. Hello Frank. It was the first time that we met on the satellite. I saw in the chat that you are not participating in the next round. Doesn't matter, but I simply wanted to say hello. And it was interesting to hear that duct tape lasts 2 years at your location. Well, come over to Limmen in the Netherlands and you will learn that these things don't last for 2 years. Certainly not. And I even doubt about the Coca-Cola bottle, Gary. Okay. I understood the request of Ohan, but I have to admit, Ohan, I don't own a GitHub name. I'm more, let's say, a hardware guy on receivers and transmitters and RF and so, and not that much on software. But I'm gonna have a look at it, and once I have a GitHub name, I will send it to you so that you can provide me access. Thanks, at least. For this. Well, that's it for this afternoon. Thanks a lot for listening at me. And, hopefully until the next time. I give the microphone to Leon. Leon, it's up to you.
Okay, Paul. PE1 AVP. ZS1 Mike returning to the group. Yeah, I would expect you to have a genuine Phillips test pattern there. Okay. Right. Okay, we saw your presentation. That was very good, but way above me. I'd like to learn more about it. There's something, talking about that, with the very first software that we used, you could tweak and tune every little parameter on this business. Now it's all done for you, so-called optimized, but then you had to manually set it all. And if you look at the fine resolution bit on a picture that's not so good, then you'll see it gets better and better and better and better, and then whoops, then it's bad again. And then progressively gets better. And now that, the timing of that you could set, is that P-tuning or whatever timing that you guys are referring to. I know nothing about it. But I just noticed that nobody ever comments on that. That you can see, especially some of the guys who transmit all these landscapes and things, you see it, the picture gets sharper and sharper and sharper and sharper, and then it goes bad, and then it gets sharper and sharper. It carries on and on and on like that. So in the old software we could set that, the timing of that at least. But nobody mentions anything about that now. Well, that's just my stupid presentation of that. Okay, Martin. You are cheating. Here is my bat thingy on the breadboard, because I said I'm not making another PC board before I haven't completed the flight termination system. So now the flight termination system is done, so now I can make a PC board for this. This is the little microphone that I told you that I'm using. I'm not sure where that comes from. I think it comes from either a hearing aid or a cell phone. It's very tiny. I tested all my electrodes, and I thought, well, this one should have the best high frequency response. And it does. It's quite good, but you have the better one. I must get one of those. But what I did on the breadboard, I have, it starts here, one op amp as a preamp, another op amp as a preamp, then a NE602 Gilbert cell mixer to mix down the high frequency of the bat to a lower frequency in the audio range. And then right at the end I have a 555 as the local oscillator. The 602 does have an onboard oscillator which I'm not using because I'm not sure whether I'll be able to get it to oscillate at such low frequencies. Maybe I must try that. But the 555 works well because square wave entering in a mixer is no problem. And then the output of that thing, of the NE602, with this lead, I just plug it into an audio amplifier because I want to hear the stuff. So I walk around the garden, then you can hear the little bugs talking to one another, and then you hear the bats. It's very interesting. I don't want just a graphic display, I want to hear them. So this is all handmade. So that's my attempt at listening to the bats, and it works well. I took it out to my friend's farm one evening, and we were really thrilled to hear all the bats flying around and so on, and you can hear them sending their echolocation pulses and things. It was very interesting. And yeah, I have to tune the thing. I have this from an old TV tuner, one of these long sliding multi-turn trim pots, you know, with a little wheel for the pre-selectors. So I can tune the 555 all over the band and listen to different insects and so on. So yes, it works quite well. So that's my attempt at that. Somebody asked about the valves. It was Bert. Yeah, no, it's this guy. He's still got a Kenwood TS830. Which still has a valve driver and valve finals, and he's looking for some valves. So I said to him, okay, I'll just have a look and see in my stocks. I have a vast stock of valves because I used to play with them a heck of a lot many years ago. But sometimes I still like to do something with a valve or so. It's a different world, and you can easily fully understand what's happening there. So that's why I still have valves. Peter, thanks for mentioning the Pico tuner, because I must go to the BATC shop and order 2 NIMS, 2 Pico adapter boards, and all the goodies to make 2 mini tuners. So I really must get around to doing that. Okay. And Frank, yes, nice to see you. I've forgotten your call sign. I know it's ZS6 something, but you didn't mention it, and I didn't see it on the background in your picture. But I know you ZS6 something. I must go through the old logs and find out. But it's nice seeing you again, and yeah, the signal looks good. So that's it from me. ZS1 Mike in Worcester, and I say 73s, and see you next week. Yeah, maybe, yeah. I don't think we're going to fly model planes this time. It'll be too windy. It'll be in the morning. So, cheers to everybody, and I give it to Martin, JKOE for the group from ZS1 Mike.
Right, it's in the workshop for a change. Yeah, to you there, Leon. If you follow the link that I put on the chat, you will get the sound. I didn't play the sound, but you do get the sound. It's not just displayed on the SDR. The sound of the bats also comes through. I may build a portable one, which I could easily do. But at the moment, I just wanted to follow through what Tech Minds did and see how that works out. But I've got all the kit there, so that's what we're doing. But yeah, if you follow the link, it'll show you totally. And I was going to show some sunshine, but there's just one problem with it. It's gone away. We did have some sunshine just now, but and it does show a bit of gardening I've been doing. On the right hand side there was a bush there which was dying. Well, it's now gone, so we've just got the stub at the bottom. What I do with it I don't know, but the cat tends to like it to use as a scratching post. And to you there, Phil, being I had one of those dishes until I got rid of it, what I found on mine, it says, having now lost the picture which I had ready to show, it says, I'm going to have to try and find it again. Where's it gone? Ah, it's it. Let's go to the screen. Oh, now we want to go into the main screen. I added a little horn on the end. And that was made out of, you get the plumbing transition pieces that goes from 22 to whatever it is, and then I just cut it off so as it gave you just a slight little. I found that made quite a difference. That worked for me, feeding the same dishes you've got, and it was easy to pop on and take off. Oh, that's Sage, unfortunately no longer with us, so, but yep, I think it's the petalised dish, the same as yours. But that's what I did. I found easy to do, one of the plumbing fittings, and just cut it off. And so I found that all the lenses that I had didn't work successfully, but that did just make the difference on the dish. Let's go back to me. Let's get rid of the filter, shall we, and go back to the shack. And yeah, look forward to take 2 there, Paul, on more information. Yeah, I wasn't on GitHub, but I am now registered, and Ohan then gave me access to download. So I didn't understand that side, but it's easy enough to do. So worth having a play. I think you should have a play with DATV Red and the whole thing, just so as you can do the follow-up on DATV Red and Tia Stuck used in it, and explain all the what you find. Look forward to that. Yeah, what else was there? Busy by? Yeah, good pictures. I didn't look at whether the sound was in sync, I must admit. I did look at the clapperboard in the background, so there's no excuse anymore for it not to be in sync. And was it 1920 by 1080 you're running? I can't remember what I'm running at the moment, but it says 1600 by 900, I think. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm running. And oh yeah, to Leon. Another the other thing I was going to say, I see you've got your red camera on at the moment. The other one gives you, I was going to say a browner sort of, not less red, shall we say? I did notice you earlier when you were switching between the two, but that's certainly your red camera on at the moment, or red face camera. This is all good fun. But and Frank, yeah, good pictures, sound and pictures. Look forward to seeing you again. But yeah, absolutely superb. I think that was all I was going to comment on. I could comment on the construction of all these PAs that I see which are water cooled, but that just seems like too much effort for me. There was a day when I would have done that sort of thing, but not anymore. Right, Phil. Time stream on. Get ready for the transmission time. So hopefully you're all ready. I'll put it over to a test card and then we can go. And if you look at the chat, well, no, I mustn't wind him up. Everybody's done it at some time. I certainly have. 7 3s, and thank you, Gary. And to Gary, I'll attempt to help you, but yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, so that'll be all right. Presumably you had it all working before you had the new version, or did you not? But anyway, I can give you what settings I've got. We can probably make sense of it between us. Right, 7 3s, good net. Thanks, Gary, for doing it. And over to you there, Phil. Test card, and give you plenty of time, and it'll be all yours.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. Keep an eye on the chat. Keep an eye on the receiver as well. Yeah, embarrassing. But yeah, we've all done it, I suppose. Anyhow, yeah, I am on the chat. It looks like Paul PA3 BYV has seen the same thing on the lens, which is very interesting. That's prime focus as well, so it'd be interesting to see what happens on a off-center dish. But yeah, I'm glad that it's not just me that's noticed this. But anyhow, yeah, I mean, my dish seems to be working pretty good. Certainly better than what it was. Every dB counts, of course, and it's had a slight improvement on the TX as well, which is good. But I must admit, one of the corners of the dish is supporting one of the petals, pushing that in. So anyhow, whatever, it seems to work. And as for duct tape, yeah, I've got my rain shield. It's not a Pepsi Cola or a cola bottle. It is a plastic sweet or cookie jar, which is made out of the same material as plastic bottles. And the reason I've used it because it's slightly bigger than a Pepsi bottle. Anyhow, I've used that, and it's all kept in place with duct tape. And my duct tape here probably has lasted about, yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's lasted a year, but because it's, I had to put some, well, because I took it all off to do the realignment, so there's more on it at the moment, but I must admit, it does need cleaning up a bit, looking at the photograph. But yeah, so yeah, Martin, the pipe fittings, Yeah, it's. I think the pipe fitting in question. I don't think they're very easy get hold of. I think you can find them on eBay. Perhaps I will go down that avenue because it's not going to upset the dish or anything because of the lens that's in at the moment. It will just pull out, so I'm not going to do any damage. And of course, that pipe fitting will just fit onto the potty without any without any glue or modifications or whatever. So I might do that. It's certainly food for thought. And sorry, Paul, I should have said, I did enjoy your presentation. Didn't necessarily understand all of it, but there's certainly bits there that certainly rang true with me. Anyhow, that's enough for me, I think, for this net. Thanks, Gary, for doing the net. Absolutely brilliant. As I've said before, I do enjoy my Sundays on the net. Ah, Screwfix. So that's and other companies are available, I'm sure. Right. So I'm going to put up test card, and then I think it's over to Bert. I think Bert's still there. If Bert isn't there, I'm sure Peter will take it. So let's put up a test.
Yeah, okay, thanks Phil. This Pop Alpha, 3 Alpha, Oscar Delta. Okay, nothing to comment anymore. Just also what Gary had. I got also the LNB is also without lens. Just open, can look in directly to the dipoles, and the only thing what happens sometimes, some little spiders come into the LNB. But anyway, just remove them, and on the moment they will probably be cooked if I put some power in that area. So we will see. Just now and then clean up, and all the spiders are gone. So yeah, everybody have a nice week. Next week I'm not in because for the DATV contest, and so you probably in 2 weeks time. Okay, safety to all, and now the system goes then to Wales. Peter, it's yours from Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta.
Okay, GW7BZY. Okay, GW7BZY. With some audio. Alright, I'll turn the audio off. Monitor. Afternoon, everybody. Yeah, excellent stuff. Very interesting all round. And yeah, I haven't put any kind of lens on my LMB. Only what it came with because it's on a separate dish. So perhaps it would benefit, I don't know. Certainly the one with the potty didn't work very well for me, and I'm sure it was a good 3 dB down on what it should have been. So that's the 1.2 meter dish. I have a 1.1 meter dish now, which is receive only, and that does a good enough job that I can see most everybody that comes on, whereas previously with the Chinese 1 meter dish I didn't. I wouldn't say Chinese measurements, not that it's I think it was more 90 centimetre by the way it worked. That's about it really. I haven't made any notes, I don't think, of anything that anybody said. Frank there, sorry, I should have handed over to you. I didn't. Have I gone off? I seem to be blanking off here, off screen. I just up the power a little bit. Whether that was a dip in the system. I have trouble with dips in the system when I go to VVC. It seems to fluctuate up and down. I'm quite excited by the idea of DATV Red version 4 point something, but unfortunately I've not. Well, I think he did say I could have a download, but it didn't work last time I tried. I'm just saying that to Oranda, but no doubt it will become available, hopefully, for us mere mortals at some point when it's all the bugs have been ironed out. If it has some real benefit, then it'll be good. There's quite a bit of the this version that I don't use, the bottom screen, and the RX Longmin. I don't really know what that's about. I don't know what that does. I heard of these Longmins. I have a ride receiver, and I think it's something to do with the old some old system. I don't know what that's about really. But there we are. I've managed without it so far, working. With that, I'm off. I'll catch you all next week, possibly. I'm not sure. If not, the week after. From GW7BZY in a fairly nice, pleasant North Wales for a change. Although it's not going to last. We've had a sunny day here. I saw something following me around today and was a bit disturbed by it. Turned out to be my shadow. From GW7B.
Oh, quickly jump in. Yeah. Good afternoon all. Sorry I'm late on parade. I think a couple on here know what I've been up to. Sun's out. It's not too windy. Been discharging some lipos in a model or two. So that's what I've been up to. I just thought I'd pop up and say good afternoon, evening or morning, depending where you are. And as for Pico tuners, guys, let's put some pictures up. Don't forget, you don't need to build the LMB part of the circuit. You can leave that off and just use the bottom part with the Pico on. You don't need your LMB circuitry if you don't. But as you can see, I can switch mine between external 12 volts, which you need if you want to run your LMB. The latest version of Pico software from Tom does now control the LMB. That's all been tested. But yeah, that's the revision 1 board, and it's got a WizNet Ethernet board in it as well. Been playing, I expect the weekend. Brian sent me some test code to run the Ethernet, which has been working well. So yeah, there we go. That's about what I've been up to. Anyway, I'll hand it round to the net controller Gary ZS6YI from G6HFS. Good afternoon all.
Frank, would you like to take it and then you pass it back to me? And hello to you, Brian, from ZS6YI. Don't know what's going on here today. Okay, Frank's not coming up for whatever reason. I wasn't receiving. Hello to you, Brian. And I got your message the other day on the high power. Just want to explain something. If you look at the power density of a 333 signal, even if we at 10 dB, so quite higher than the beacon, you're nowhere near the beacon's power density. But from 500 kilosymbols and 1 meg, so forth, it starts to play a role. That's why you don't have the overpower. So you can't just look at the height of the spectrum and say, oh, you're overpowered. Not quite true. Anyway, we were doing some tests and And then, you know, another funny thing, when you've got a lot of guys on, signal drops, and when the satellite totally empty, your signal goes up quite a bit. Anyway, it's not an issue. Right, with that, I'm going to close the net. I want to thank everybody for coming on today. It's been very, very interesting. Thank you to Paul, to everyone that made a very good contribution today. As usual, it's been very interesting. And I also just want to say hi to Stuart, ZR6 Whiskey Tango, or ZR6 Whiskey Tango. He really liked that presentation of what Paul gave, and he says, thank you, Paul. Dirk, ZR6 Delta Hotel, was listening, and also Alfredo, and then to Peter Rudolph, always watching, DK3 Zulu Fox. Let's see who else. And then Paul, OE8PCK, he's in Tunisia. He's watching us via YouTube in Tunisia. So he certainly gets around, doesn't he? What did I do now? Cancel. Okay. So with that, with a raspy voice and a flu coming on for sure, I wish to thank everyone for coming up today. But you all a very happy week. We see each other next week, all being equal. This is ZA6YI now closing the net. 7-3 all. Cool. This is ZA6YI now.